Hello, Nicholas.
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm more than
We,
good. This might be one of my favourite weeks. Well, definitely this year.
right.
That I can
Because of
say
a
for
little
sure.
game called Yu-Gi-Oh! That was
Oh,
a joke.
okay.
That
Well,
was a
kind of,
joke.
but not really.
That was a joke.
Okay.
Because of Pokemon.
Because of Pokemon. Very true.
Before we get there, Jay,
Yeah.
how you doing?
I'm well. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Have you seen Modern Family where Gloria
Oh,
goes, Jay, Jay?
I have. Yeah.
That was all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Oh, here's a good one. What are the warships used by the Dark Elves called?
Oh,
Anglophone.
damn
Is
it.
that right?
Is it multiple choice or do I have to just know?
Surely I bet that would basically be what are the Dark Elves warships called?
Yeah,
Surely that's kind
basically.
of like, yeah. What would you say? Sorry.
Is it multiple choice or do I just have to know?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank
you've
God.
got arcs, M ships, serpents, and carriers.
Damn it.
Arcs, M ships, serpents, and carriers.
It's either Ark or Serpent.
Okay.
If I had to choose, I'll go with Ark.
Correct
Oh,
answer.
wow.
Well
I was
done,
trying to
mate.
remember what they look like in my head, and for some reason they look like they might be slightly arc shaped. So that might have been
Yeah,
either
they're
that
like little
or
pods,
it's
right, with like little feathers on them.
it's either that or it was called Ark, but it was ARK because they housed all of the elves when they were in hibernation. So that was like my
I
other
still remember the
logic. I don't know.
Anthony Hopkins, what do you call it, voiceover for the trailer for that
Mhm.
film.
Mhm. Nobody liked that film, did they? Thor: The Dark World.
Not really, no.
I liked it.
Do you know what I like, Jay?
What do you like, Nick?
Episode intermission, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, good segue there. Okay.
No, I don't think it's that terrible of a movie, to be fair, mate.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't think like it's the worst thing ever created or anything like that.
Yeah, no. I think it's been voted one of the worst ones. It's weird how Thor 2 was like one of the worst voted, but Thor 3, Ragnarok, was one of the highest voted ones.
It's true. It's true. Well, like we said last week, Jay, obviously you like all the stuff that other people hate,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. It's still true.
So, Jay, yes, as I segued, I have had an opportunity to play through episode intermission, which is basically the Yuffie DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So this is DLC came out when Final Fantasy VII or FF7 Remake came to PS5. They did a PS5 version, and then you could also get this episode intermission with it as well.
Hmm.
So, thoughts on it, Jay, for this week? Firstly, the game itself in general runs beautifully on PS5. 60 frames is magnificent. It looks fantastic. What are you laughing at?
I mean, we didn't really do much of an intro, but
Oh, sorry.
you're
You're right,
very
Jay.
eager this week.
Jay, there is so much I have to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to go there. Sorry. You're right. Everyone who's listening, who's still listening at this
Yeah.
point, we're a gaming podcast. We talk about video games. Hopefully, it comes out on Saturday morning, and we cover everything that we want to cover, and we probably give you a bit more of an honest perspective than most gaming media outlets.
Yeah, because we're not
and that's
being
all I
paid by
promise.
anyone.
Well, let's not stretch that.
Yeah, we're not
But
being
we
paid to say
definitely
certain things.
Yeah, we definitely aren't. Finally, Jay, I watched Angry Joe's top 10 most disappointing games of
Okay.
2021, and in there obviously was Deathloop, and I was like, dude, that game is so overrated. Like, the gap between media outlet review and gamer is so big at this point.
Yeah.
Like Destiny 2 and Halo Infinite multiplayer, like 9 out of 10s, and then the game's like, what planet are you on? That kind of thing. So anyway.
True.
Is that okay, Jay? Oh,
Yeah,
this
no,
is
that's
Jay,
great.
the Goldilocks Gamer. I'm Nick, sometimes known as friendly, sometimes not so friendly, and that's pretty much it, I think.
Hmm.
Are we happy with that, Jay? Anything else you'd like to add there?
No, that's great. You can continue with Yuffie or intermission, whatever you're talking about.
Yuffie. Yeah, so the game itself, in general, running great on PS5, as you probably know, Jay. 60 frames. Jay's already bought this thing.
Yeah, it's weird actually, because you mentioned to me, yo, it's on sale right now, and I was convinced that I'd already bought it, but I hadn't. So I was like, oh,
I
sweet.
thought you said you did.
No, I hadn't in the end. So I went and checked
Oh.
properly, and I was like, oh, I don't actually have it. I might as well grab it now. So
Oh, good job I told you then.
yeah, very good job. Thanks for that.
Good. No worries. Oh, that's good then. We both picked it up on sale. That's sweet. Yeah, so I think it went on sale around Christmas time, right? Ish.
Yeah, I think they were doing like Christmas sale, and then they did like an early January sale. I think, right? That was like the thing. I'm not even sure.
Right, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, picked it up. Dude, 7 Remake is unbelievably good of a game. You know, just even the main menu and quickly diving into the main game, I'm just like, man, this just works on so many levels, bro. Like, I feel like the music is even amplified when you're playing with those characters. Like, I can't really explain it, but anyway. So in terms of the Yuffie DLC, Jay, I have no history with original FF7. I don't really know Yuffie as a character, etc., etc. I just expected a few more hours of content. This DLC is actually perhaps a slightly longer than I expected, Jay.
Okay.
It's not £1 for an hour by any stretch. It's not 12 hours long. But it's a good, probably for you, I mean, 3 to 4, I would say. I think it's good. Overall, I think it's good DLC. It's good. So you've got 2 chapters that it adds. I think there's a good amount of content there. Yuffie gets a great introduction. It's more FF. I know we say this all the fucking time, but it is obviously more of the game, right? That's what DLC is. It's some familiar locations, some kind of new locations, but more importantly, Jay, there is a new mini game in this DLC called Fort Condor, and it is sick. Boss.
I actually don't know about this.
I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Okay.
It's great. It's like a Gwent, I would say, and I consider Gwent the highest.
I liked
mini
Gwent
games.
a lot, actually. Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase, Jay. It's like Gwent that I like it. It's not like Gwent. It's not a card game.
Okay.
But I like it. That's all I'm saying. And Gwent, and like I consider Gwent like the greatest mini game ever.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's weird. You know the Valhalla game?
Yes.
I always forget what it's called. That and Gwent to me are like.
Yeah.
I think that's like a lot. Like Gwent is obviously like a lot higher level of a game than that. Kind of. That Viking one, I always forget what it's pretty called, but.
Yeah, the dice.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, I think that's. I remember like seeing it and looking up on forums whether or not they're actually going to like make it a real thing, and I'm pretty sure they've made it a real thing. I haven't found it yet though.
Yeah, I think they have.
Yeah, I need to look into that because
I
can't wait.
Play that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it begins with OJ, like a.
I haven't
not like
played it.
But like Orlog.
That sounds about right, actually. I think you just nailed it somehow.
I don't know if I did. Anyway, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. So, to be honest, Jay, like, you know, unless you've got some questions for me, I guess I'm positive about it. I like, obviously, everything worked for me in FF7 Remake, and everything works for me, unsurprisingly, in this DLC. It's more of, you know, the fantastic combat. There are some small iterations, Jay, with the combat, which you'll find out for yourself. But to be honest with you, Jay, my biggest takeaway from this was, is it slightly overpriced because it's not, 12 hours of content? Well, maybe, but
how much is it worth? How much does it cost? Like,
I think it's standard. It's 16 quid, and I think me and you got it for 11 or 12.
Yeah, I think we got it for 12. Yeah, it was like 11.99.
I guess that also includes the PS5. No, it doesn't, does it? Because that's free. So for us,
yeah. Okay, I have some questions. If you would like.
Yeah.
How long actually did you play it for then?
6 or 7 hours.
Okay, is that Nick speed, do you think? Or is that just everyone in general speed?
No, that's full Nick speed. That's also me playing at normal. And that's also me doing most of Fort Condor in normal. But change it down to easy because I found the last bit so hard. The last match was
I'm curious whether I would be able to do it quicker.
Are you playing easy?
Yeah, I'd be playing it in easy. Yeah,
You definitely do it 3 to 4 hours,
3 to 4.
100%.
Okay.
Are you doing side quests?
Um, I mean, if I was really into it, probably. Yeah.
Because side quests are a good, I'd say, an extra hour or two,
Okay.
personally.
Okay. Just trying to think. What? How long? How long were the Valhalla DLCs?
Yeah, good question.
I can't remember
I want
now.
to say,
They were quite
are we
long.
saying everything
No,
included?
just a single. Like, what was what? There
So we
was
had the druids
the druid. Yeah,
and
how
the.
long was the druid one? That must have been about 10 hours, right?
Oh, dude, if not 15, 20,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. And that, how much does that cost? Do you reckon?
Well, we got the season pass, which I
Yeah.
think is like 30 or 40 quid. 30 quid?
Yeah. So let's say they bring out 4 bits of DLC included in that. That's like a tenner each.
Well, they're not, because it's only them 2 bits of
Okay, so they're
DLC,
20
right?
quid each, roughly.
What are you saying if they're not bundled in the
Yeah,
season
let's say
pass?
like if you had to buy it separate, just that
Yeah, I think,
DLC,
yeah, that
it's about
sounds
20
right. That
quid,
sounds.
right? So you're
Yeah,
paying about
yeah.
£5 extra for about 3 or 4 times the amount of time you play on that DLC.
But is it as high quality as
Yeah,
Yuffie?
exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
But no, you make such a valid point, Jay. Right? Like I think we're getting a bit spoiled with all this
Yeah.
Ubisoft DLC because it's so long.
Ubisoft. There's like they've got. I think their scope is so big,
Yeah.
whereas their
So
like
big.
refined details with like Square Enix have a lot more refined details, but their scope, while large, they don't need a lot of time to be able to give you enough of a story or enough of an experience for you to enjoy it. Whereas I feel like Ubisoft tend to need to give you so much for it to be worth the amount of time and money you spend on it. I don't know. There's like a weird balance there somewhere. I need to find how to explain it exactly. Um, would you say that this DLC added to the main game story? What was it really abridged? Did it like allude to more things
Mm.
that are coming? You know.
Good question, Jay. So I don't
Also,
want to
when is
spoil
it like
anything.
set? Like without spoiling too much, like where is this? Where does this DLC lie in the timeline?
So in the lol, in the timeline, this lies. I think the main Cloud has gone off from the main group. And I can't really remember why. I think he's got, and then eventually the group go off to sabotage the second reactor. So
Okay.
it's like it's before. I mean, spoilers for FF7 remake, I suppose. You've got 5 seconds. You got 3 seconds. Fast forward like 20 seconds. It's before the plate drop.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Before the
Okay,
plate
so it's
drop.
before the plate drop. That's yeah. I mean, okay, that's interesting.
And I'm pretty sure it finishes within that time frame as well. Now, Jay, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say I want to say 2 things. Firstly, the end of the game is extremely rewarding. You will be finding a lot of there's probably more hints towards the next game than you might think.
Okay, that's good at least.
Secondly, to be honest with you, Jay, after I finished this, I was like, do you know what? I think I'd rather just get the part 2. You know what I mean? I'm gagging for it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
So that was my main takeaways.
Okay. Good.
I genuinely think it's worth playing through just to see the reward at the end, personally.
For the fact that
for
I
you.
now know how short it is, I probably could have played it by now. That's the annoying thing. And I probably, well, I mean,
Sure.
no, I can't because Pokemon's tomorrow. But probably that's the thing. I've actually, just as like a quick thing, I've like taken a
Yeah.
bit of a break from games to sort of like get myself in the mood for Pokemon.
Because you don't want to
I
like
haven't played
overindulge
anything
sort of
since
thing.
Monday night. I don't think.
Oh wow, nice.
Maybe, was it Monday night, Sunday night? Might have even been Sunday night. Yeah.
Sweet.
All I've been doing is watching YouTube videos and being on my phone, just sort of like sat back here. I think part of the issue, like if like a weird thing, I had like
Yeah.
a bit of weird neck pain, and I think part of it was like me sitting in front of my TV, like hunched over. So I've deliberately been sat up against my wall, just sort of like scrunched up, hoping that the pain goes away. You know. So I don't know.
Do
We'll
some
see.
stretches. Stretches might
Yeah,
help
no,
you.
I know. I need to. Yeah. Okay. So like for the future, then, do we
Yeah.
expect there to be more DLC like this? Do you think?
Nah, dude. I think it's
Or is
all
this
hands on
just
deck
like
for
a
part
little
2.
thing, just like a little a little bump, a little bridge in between, just to sort of help you get there.
Yeah, I think they saw an opportunity with the launch of the PS5. They took it.
That's true. Yeah, they
and
was.
I assume all hands on deck for part 2 now.
Okay.
Personally,
I think that's all the questions I had.
No worries, mate.
You enjoyed it sounds like.
Good. Yeah, 100. Like, super glad I played through it. I wouldn't say it's out of this world or anything,
No.
but look, we're spoiled.
Can I segue off of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a game coming out. I can't remember exactly when, but it's a new Final Fantasy game.
Yes.
Called Strangers of Paradise, I think. It's Final Fantasy Origin Strangers of Paradise. And I think when we both saw it, I can't remember what was your opinion of it. Do you remember? Because it's basically Dark Souls meets Final Fantasy, right? That's like the whole point.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it's. At least that's what we thought it was when we first saw it, right? So what was your
100%.
when you first saw it? What was your first opinion? Do you think?
Looks a bit unpolished.
Basic. Yeah, unpolished. Basic, yeah, that's kind of what mine.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you seen the latest gameplay trailer that they've done to sort of like show off how the game's come along since then?
No.
Well, I recommend you watch it, but I'll talk about it a little bit now.
Okay.
It's kind of amazing, and it's a lot more polished than it was. Let's just say that. They've finally shown some UI, and the UI is actually very similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I think they've taken a lot of resources from Remake and put it, and potentially 15 as well, and sort of put it into this Final Fantasy game, and it's actually kind of made me want to get it now. So I think at some point this year I will be playing that game.
Interesting.
Because you know me, I like a good Souls type.
Well, it's your bag, right?
Yeah, I think the other half of it is. Do you remember a game called Nioh? But it was spelled.
I played it the other day, Jay.
Nioh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
played it the other day.
This new Final Fantasy game is basically that, but Final Fantasy.
Yes, because it's the same team, isn't it? Same developer.
I don't know actually. It'd be cool if it was the same team. But yeah, it is basically Ninja. That game, right? Oh yeah, you're right. It's Team Ninja. So yeah, if you like Nioh, I think you're probably gonna like this.
Did you like Nioh? Did you play it?
Yeah, I have the first one. I didn't get the second one.
Did you finish the first one?
I got pretty far.
Fair.
Didn't finish it though, I don't think. But it has it has a loot system, which is what I like. There's like legendaries and stuff, and also the loot corresponds with. So let me start again. There is a Final Fantasy 14 online has a system where if you pick a class and you level up to a certain level, you can change your class into like an upgraded version of your class. So let's say if you're a white mage to start off with, you'll end up like a healer, an extra healer type class later on if you like evolve basically, like an advanced class.
Sure.
There's a very similar system in this Final Fantasy game where I think everyone starts out as like a basic swordsman, and you can sort of choose like a skill tree which way you want to go with your job. Much like in much older previous Final Fantasies where there was like black mage, white mage, I don't know, the other ones.
Rogue,
yeah, like the usual, right? And I think like Lancer, all this kind of stuff. And from what I've seen in the trailer, it's made me go, oh, there's that like the fact. As soon as I'm a sucker. You know me. I'm a sucker for skill trees. And the second I saw a loot system and a skill tree, I was like, I'm in. Don't really need much more. And I will say the game does look a hell of a lot more polished than it did. So I recommend you watch the video. I think it's only about 5 minutes long. Honestly, it's really worth just checking, just to see.
No, I will. I'll check it out.
Like even if you're not even fussed about that, it's the fact that it's Final Fantasy does help.
Yeah, of course.
I think I'm actually curious now about what the story is going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be good.
The fact they've put Final Fantasy on the front of it even makes me want to play it,
Well, I think the fact that it's called Final Fantasy Origins, they're trying to. I think this is supposed to be like a massive prequel to like most of the Final Fantasy games.
Interesting.
And they've also gone that crystal route, which me and you know a lot of the lore to do with crystals, and how that all works. So they've sort of gone. The fact that they've gone the crystal route makes me even more excited as to like what more story could they be telling here,
So is it the Fabula Nova Crystallis?
I don't think so, but it kind of like they've kind of taken that aesthetic at least.
Yeah,
with crystals, like when you defeat an enemy in this, you sort of like turn their blood into a crystal and then smash them. Like that's
Ah.
part of like the death animation, right? It's sort of like part of your like hero ability or whatever.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm actually kind of looking forward to this.
I actually tried Neo like 2 days ago
Oh, weird. Okay, that's a
randomly.
coincidence. Yeah,
We'll talk about it later, obviously.
sure.
And what I was just going to say was apparently Neo 2 is genuinely like the hardest game ever.
Yeah,
is
I
what
mean the
hear.
first one was difficult enough.
Right.
I've
I've heard they're more difficult than Souls, but I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I'd
So.
say so.
Wow.
In
Okay.
my opinion, I'd say they are. Yeah, Souls was easy. I think majority of why people
Let's not
find
say that,
Souls.
Jay.
Okay, in my mind, at least, in my opinion, Souls was easy, but the majority of it being hard was actually people being fearful of dying and resetting far back. Like, let's say you hadn't got to the next bonfire, people were
Yeah.
like more scared about going in and just losing and being one hit killed. You know, I think that's where most of the actual difficulty comes from, is your own fear of getting to the next part of the game.
Rather than
Because
just embracing that.
same for me. Like I had to massively embrace, like I had to let go of the fear of going to the next part and just like confidence pushing my way through the game. Basically, that's pretty much how I finished the game. Is you just need to let go of the fear of like dying. It doesn't really matter.
How did you get past Schmau and Ornstein? Is it?
Excuse me. What, the boss battle with the two people?
Yeah.
The big one and the small one with the big hammer and
Yeah.
the small lancer. How did I get
Yeah.
past it?
Like,
I
was that
beat
your
him.
heart? Was that the biggest hurdle for you in that game?
No, I was actually looking forward to that. That was probably one of my favorite boss battles in that game.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jay, we should move on. We should move on because
Yeah,
we're running
yeah,
out of
yeah.
time.
Please.
Not that we ever run out of time.
No.
We've got the new segment, Jay. Are we confident in the name?
Well, I'll tell you why it's called this in a second. Well, I could tell you now. Do you want me to tell you now?
Sure.
So in the new Pokemon game,
Yes.
because it's set in a very old era of like feudal Japan, basically, there's no such
Yes.
thing as a computer. So you can't store your Pokemon in a PC. But where do Pokemon usually hang out on a farm? They hang out in pastures. So now, in your main hub city that you live in, basically in the game, there's a pasture which can just hold like an infinite amount of Pokemon, basically.
That's so cool.
So instead of this segment being called Poke Corner, or I don't know, we haven't really properly come up with anything. I thought Poke Pasture just sounds cool, just where all the Pokemon are.
Is that called that in the game?
No, it's just called a pasture in the game, but I thought I'd give it like
We'll take
what,
it.
what's
Yeah,
the
we'll take it.
what's it called when you have like two letters in a row for like two
Yeah,
words?
I don't know.
So
I
like
don't
Cat's
know.
Cradle
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
Great Gnome, but that wouldn't really work. Or Great Grape. There's a word
Yeah,
for it,
I
isn't
know
there?
what you
Like
mean.
whatever that is, is what it sounds nice to say. Poke Pasture. It's just like pepper, PP.
Yeah.
It just sounds good.
Prepare.
Pepper.
Yeah, so the new segment's PokePasture.
Sure.
So
we just kind of, I just want to like see if you have any questions about Pokemon, and I can answer them to the best of my ability. I kind of actually want to know what the last Pokemon game you played was.
all right.
And I'm guessing it probably would have been Leaf Green.
Specific
Probably.
are we doing this? Are you talking about which one I actually sort of bought and played?
Yeah, you bought it for the idea of I'm going to play this game. You specifically went out and bought it. I'm playing this game.
Pokemon Diamond.
Diamond. Okay, that's good to know.
So I don't know if you remember this, but I jumped on when you jumped on when it first came out. At the time, I was a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah.
So my main... It's funny, really, because I say that. I basically played 2 games. So my main entry point was Sapphire. So my brother got Ruby, I got Sapphire.
Okay. Leaf Green and Fire Red were first, weren't they?
Then Leaf Green Fire Red came out.
Was it really that way around?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm about to find out.
He's giggling. And then...
Oh, you are
Diamond.
right. You are totally right. It was 2 years after. Jesus. Actually, Emerald came out the same year as Fire Red and Leaf Green, but yeah, continue.
Oh, okay. And then I never
Wow.
played Emerald. And then I got Diamond. I don't think my brother got
I got Pearl.
You got Pearl.
Yeah. Actually, no, that's a lie. I got Diamond. Continue.
And yeah, that was it, mate. And I fell off.
So the only ones you've played is Ruby or Sapphire, whichever one. I
stuff
know
like
you
that.
had Fire Red. I'm pretty sure you didn't have Leaf Green.
I had leaf green.
Okay, okay. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, you did have Leaf Green. My dad had Fire Red, and you got Diamond.
Yeah.
So you've only really
However,
yeah
I have played
yeah
blue,
yeah
red,
yeah
yellow,
yeah.
and I want to say
6.
silver or crystal.
Okay, so you've played 7 Pokemon games, and the last one you played was in 2006,
That would be correct.
roughly.
That would be correct.
So weirdly, I actually have like a similar um, Pokemon experience to you. I'd say mine was basically the same as yours, and then
Okay.
once Diamond and Pearl was over, I think I stopped until Black and White. So I had a 4-year break. Black and
So
White came out.
hold a minute. Did you start at Sapphire Ruby?
No, I started Yellow.
Wow. Okay.
I played Crystal. I remember that. I
Oh,
played
dude,
Ruby and Sapphire. I played Leaf Green and Fire Red. I played Emerald, and I played Diamond and Pearl.
just quickly, Jay. Like genuinely missing that second generation is one of my biggest regrets in gaming ever. Just
Well, you
ever.
didn't miss it. You played Silver, right? Is that what you said?
I played it, but basically I had something wrong with the cartridge and it
Yeah.
wouldn't save.
Well, this is the thing. I
Oh.
played it, but I don't remember anything. The only thing I remember is the start of Pokemon.
Okay.
I remember picking the grass one. That was it.
Sure.
Magnanium or whatever it was.
And then, so
Crescentia.
sorry, yeah. So you got to Pearl.
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl, and I had a 4-year break. I missed out on Platinum, and I missed out on Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I hate that I missed out on that.
Are they considered the best remakes out of
Heart Gold and Soul
curiosity?
Silver, I think, are probably the most beloved. Yeah,
Is that because like, why is that?
because Gold, Silver, and Crystal were so beloved. Because they were
More
the
than
last Pokemon games to come out before it changed into Ruby and Sapphire. Like, there was a big shift in how the game looked and was perceived. You know?
So even in Crystal, Silver, Gold, was there still like some original Pokemon and then some new Pokemon like the template?
No, I think it was
now?
just all Gen 2 Pokemon. I can't actually remember, but there might have been some
Fair
Gen
enough.
1 in there, more likely.
Okay.
So yeah, 4-year break after Diamond and Pearl to Black and White, and then I basically played every Pokemon game I've played every Pokemon game since 2000. Well, since after I had the break, from Black and White in 2010 to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl from last year, and then Arceus tomorrow, preferably. The only one I missed was Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It's the only one I missed since then. So there's
X
been
and Y.
Yeah, played X and Y. So Black and White was 2010. Black and White 2 was 2012. X and Y was 2013. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which was the remakes or the reboots of, not remakes. They were like they're basically what BDSP is. So they're like the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl of Ruby and Sapphire.
Are they not remakes? Are we not?
They were
classing them
made
as
again,
remakes?
but in like 3D, basically.
Yeah, that's a remake.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Sun and Moon came out 2 years later. Ultra Sun and Moon came out after that. I have those. I have one of those. Then I missed out on Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee because that was the first one that came out on Switch, and I didn't want to get Switch for those, so I thought those games were like way too kiddish. They deliberately made those games like super easy, basically. Like even most Pokemon fans hate those games. Like it's like that Pokemon game is very split. Either you love or you hate that game in the Pokemon fandom. Like half of people love it, half hate it.
I've heard that even the more newer normal Pokemon games are easier than the originals and stuff like that.
Up for debate. I'd say I don't know. I'd say that they're definitely challenging, but in different ways. Hard to explain, really. Like there's usually like 1 or 2 hard, either gym or Elite Four members that you really have to like make sure you are on it for, and then the rest of the game is pretty easy.
Okay.
So you just got to make sure that those important battles are taken care of. And then yeah, Sword and Shield in 2019, which is the reason I bought a Switch. I was like, yeah, this is good enough of a game for me to buy a Switch. I'll buy that.
I didn't realise you bought it that recently, actually.
So 2019, yeah, that would have been November 2019, I think.
I thought you got a Switch like the year it came out, but anyway.
No. And then BDSP last year, and then Arceus tomorrow. So I'm all caught up on Pokemon and Gen 9. Okay, so there's a guy called the Riddler on Twitter.
Okay.
And he has like a source that he gets his information from, where he knows all the Pokemon information. Basically, he has like a person on the inside who knows all the
Right.
Pokemon information.
He's a leaker.
Yeah, so there's like a leak thing online, and everyone looks forward to it. I'll actually go into it in a second, really quick. But he has hinted to the fact that in April we'll be getting the announcement for Gen 9 Pokemon, so the next new Pokemon game, and that'll probably come out end of this year or start of next year. So I reckon we'll probably get the announcement in April, and we'll either be playing it in November or we'll be playing it middle of next year. Because I know that Game Freak has two teams. One team has been working on Legends Arceus, the other team's been working on Gen 9.
And is the announcement usually following the release quite soon thereafter? Is that usually the way it goes?
I think that's kind of why people are thinking that we might be playing it this year. Yeah.
Because I think why not spread the releases out, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're probably just still trying to... I think most companies at the minute are trying to capitalize on that lockdown money where everyone saved up a bunch of money, and they're just trying to make sure that they're sucking it all out of them as quick as they can.
Fair enough.
That makes sense.
Jay, I can talk about Pokemon all day, I really can, but we should move on.
We can roll on.
So more next week. Loads more next week.
Well, yeah, because Arceus, I will say, Arceus was supposed to come next Wednesday. It's coming officially tomorrow now, so I will be playing it tomorrow.
Very good.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Get it. I'm sure you'll let me know. You send me a picture anyway.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be updating you, 100%.
Good man.
As soon as I catch some shinies.
Can you please transition us to the news? So guys, we've got quite a lot of news this week. As kind of predicted, we've got lots of reports and things following the acquisition, but also some Star Wars stuff going on. So without further ado, Jay, I'm just to introduce the news stories, and then you can take us through them because you listed most of them this week.
Yeah.
So
I'll do a quick summary.
New blog post by Blizzard saying that they're working on a new survival game in a brand new universe. So like new IP.
New IP. Like. I don't know exactly what this is, but there's already some key art to sort of like suggest what the game might look like, and it looks very like just sort of like foresty and scavengy. I'm not sure exactly what the game is. Like they say survival, but I mean basically they're trying to hire people to be like come on over kind of thing, you know.
Oh, so it could be quite early in development then.
I say extremely so. Probably like pre-production.
Right, okay.
Like not even an
interestingly,
alpha.
Jay, I don't know why, but for me, I know things have to tick along, right? I get that.
Sure.
But if I was Microsoft, after the acquisition's completed, I would just be like, right, guys, let's just go radio silent for like at least a year. You know what I mean? And just get everything cooking in the oven.
Get some stuff prepared. Get stuff started baking, and then we'll start giving announcements in like E3 in like a year and a half, 2 years, you know.
Yeah, when everything's ready.
And then about 2 years after that, the first game will come out, and boom, we're good to go.
Exactly.
Popularity restored. Reputation restored.
Exactly. So, are you excited about this new IP, or?
It's more of just like a hope kind of thing, you know. I'm not sure what it is, but it kind of like makes me think, oh my god, they're already like starting on new things.
You think this is following the acquisition?
Not necessarily, but I just think that maybe from the acquisition, it might have just maybe they might have like gone right. We need to start making this, you know, the hiring process public a bit more. Because I feel like the hiring processes for games they've never really like announced it on their social media. I think this is one of the first times I've ever seen a game company announce on their official social media, "Hey, we're hiring for this." Usually it's all like behind the scenes. And I've mentioned it on the podcast before about behind the scenes. I remember when Naughty Dog was like hiring people for Last of Us 2. And we didn't know it was Last of Us 2 yet. This was like how many years ago? Like 3 years ago probably?
Well, more than that probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you're right. It could be 3 years ago. Because obviously they're hiring while the project's going on.
Whenever, yeah.
So next up, Jay, as reported by Bloomberg, I imagine Drayton Schreier, though I haven't checked, Call of Duty could move away from annual releases according to high-level employees.
I also can add on to that with, I think, Activision, Blizzard, I think there was another thing that came out saying that the next 3 releases were going to be on
PlayStation.
I think either exclusively on PlayStation or also PlayStation. I can't remember exactly.
No, I'm sure that would be also PlayStation.
Yeah, I want probably also. So I think there might be like some sort of like contract built into this acquisition of, Well, the next 3 titles have to be on PlayStation also, but after that, it can be exclusive to Xbox if you want it to be.
Sure.
Something like that, I think they might have already had a contract in place. It could have been anything like that. So.
I imagine they would have already had a contract in place.
Yeah, they must have done. This is just to let people know, we're not going exclusive yet. Hang on.
Yeah,
It also gives people time to be like, oh, I should probably buy an Xbox in the next couple of years.
I was going to say, I feel like the fact they had to announce that almost shows their intention to make it exclusive after those contracts are up, personally, or if that leaked or whatever.
And it goes well with what you said about it potentially moving away from annual releases. If we get a COD every 2 years, that means minimum 6 years, or no, minimum 8 years until we see exclusive COD games on Xbox. Because if the next 3 titles every 2 years, that means 6 years until they're all out, but about 8 years till the 4th one is on exclusive.
Dude, what about if they do this, right? What about if they pull a Bungie and they're like, yeah, the next 3 CODs will be on PlayStation, right? And they do a normal one next year, or maybe even the year after, and then they do like 2 fucking like big DLC expansions, and they're like, no, they're a separate release. They're a COD game. You know what I mean? Like they could pull that.
Yeah, they could pull it. They could probably pull that. That's very true. Very true.
So I mean that because Bungie obviously did ODST and Reach.
Yeah,
I know Reach is a full Halo game, but again, I would argue Reach did not have the impact of a numbered Halo game. Although I love ODST, it's not as big as an
ODST is the moody teenager of Halo.
So it is.
And I feel like Reach is like when the teenager finally decides to get up and get a job. That's exactly how that is genuinely how those games feel to me. That's exactly like the teenager turned 18, right? I gotta get a job now.
So
opened up the curtains.
Phil Spencer. Sorry, Jay. No, I'm just.
You're good.
Phil Spencer, head of Microsoft Gaming, new title following the acquisition, spoke to the Washington Post, whereby I will take this quote from there. I was looking at the IP list. I mean, let's go. End quote.
That's
quote, King's Quest, Guitar Hero, and then some more in there as well. So basically, Phil Spencer is obviously bright enough to know that they're not just buying the games in development and names like Call of Duty and Diablo. They're buying all the names, all the stuff that could be like big
stuff that's even like hasn't come out in a while and sort of like faded into history, into the past. There's also another game in there that I don't think a lot of people realise. Candy Crush was owned by Activision Blizzard.
Yes, because
that game makes millions a year, like hundreds of millions a year. Probably over $1 billion, yeah. Wow. So that game is basically going to fund the next lot of games that come out of Activision Blizzard. Can you believe it? They've got a cash cow just funding all these games.
True. That is probably so true.
No, it's 100% true. Of course it is.
How do you make the new Call of Duty? Candy Crush.
Honestly, they're probably going to make their money back a lot sooner than you think.
Oh yeah.
That 70 billion, they're probably going to make that back in about a decade, probably less.
See, so I thought this, Jay, about Star Wars, and I thought this about Minecraft. So they bought Minecraft for $2 billion. It's now the biggest game in the world, and it's sold 218 million units or something like that.
That's
not
made its money back.
Minecraft Story Mode, Minecraft Dungeons.
That's made its money back like
the merchandise.
Probably 10 times over, right?
What, 20 billion? I mean, maybe.
Probably. I mean, you got to think, how much does each copy of Minecraft cost times by 218 million copies?
Well, they obviously bought it, after it boomed.
Roughly.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also think this about. Do you think Disney have got their? I want to say they bought Star Wars for like $6 billion, didn't they, or something like that?
I think it was like 7, maybe like 6.97, something like that.
That's so cheap for Star Wars, by the way.
I saw a list. Someone put a list out on Twitter of how much each of these games companies at the minute are like worth, like Square Enix, Capcom. There's a big thing. I have a feeling Sony is going to be buying Square Enix and Capcom very soon. They're going to buy them in a similar acquisition. To sort of compete.
I don't know, bro. I'm okay with PlayStation.
Do you know how cheap they are? Square Enix and Capcom, they're roughly between 5 and 7 billion each. It's not a lot.
I mean, that's as much as Bethesda do. That's.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, obviously, that's a lot of money. But for these companies, I don't know how much Sony's worth, but Microsoft's worth a lot.
Yeah.
So they could easily just. For the money that they spent on Activision Blizzard, they could have bought, I think, 10 other game companies, including Take-Two. combined. Take-Two, Capcom, Bandai Namco, Square Enix. Like, there's so many they could have bought combined for the same price that they did for Activision Blizzard. It's insane. It's probably
That
like a
is
monopoly on
insane.
the release on
They
the
could have
system.
bought they could have bought them. They maybe even could have bought
Naughty Dog?
Ubisoft, and still it wouldn't be as much as Activision Blizzard.
No. No.
That's mental.
Yeah, I know. Money moves, man. Mogul moves.
Oh. Last up on the news second to last, penultimate.
Okay.
We have news, comes by way of Cat Bailey at IGN, though I'm not really sure where they confirmed this, but alas, we move on. Star Wars games are still being made at EA. I say that because Ubisoft are making one.
Yep.
However, good news, great news, everyone.
Yep.
Respawn, who made Fallen Order, are making a sequel to Fallen Order, which I assume we all pretty much knew about, but they're also making an FPS and a strategy game in the Star Wars universe.
I have a feeling one of those will probably be mobile. It's very possible. It's very possible.
No, but Respawn wouldn't make it.
No, but they might get like Tencent to help them out with it or something.
I mean, who knows? They could do. They could do.
The thing is, Star Wars haven't had a good track record in the last year or two, other than Fallen Order. Fallen Order was the best Star Wars game that came out in recent history.
Dude. They haven't had a good track record in like the last 12 years.
No, the mobile games that have come out before have been pretty terrible. The Squadrons was terrible.
Squadron's not great.
Battlefront's terrible. Yeah.
Like
I feel like they've out of like the last 10 games, maybe 2 or 3 of them have been good.
Dude, Fallen Order, it's really not that hard, is it? Like, let's make a decent.
That game was
Star Wars
so good.
You know what I mean?
So good. You actually almost got me to replay it during the week. I was like, do I want to play it again?
Oh man, it's good.
I was so close.
So, Jay, I'm a huge fan of Respawn.
Yes, you are.
I still
Titanfall,
hold
yeah.
that Titanfall 1 is, first of all, incredible multiplayer. That is what Call of Duty should have been.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2, I say the same thing. And I don't like Apex Legends because to me it's like a restrictive Titanfall. However, it obviously does well. You know, it's doing well.
Very well.
I just think they know exactly what they're doing. I think they know where they want to go. And I think they know how to make great games. And I don't know how, but Vince Ampella over there can clearly navigate the top level EA guys to the point where he's like, we're not putting microtransactions in Fallen Order. You can fuck off.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've now got the experience from Apex to now put into the next Star Wars thing, right?
Right.
That's a lot of money too. I will tell you that game has made some bank.
Apex.
A lot of money. We're talking like.
Dude, I feel like that's the quiet
Fortnite
one.
money.
Like Fortnite's loud and Warzone's loud, but I never hear anything about Apex.
You have to be in the right circles. I hear about it a lot.
Is it just because like they're just doing it well? Like there's
I think it's a little bit like how Overwatch League was doing their sort of thing.
Right.
Very similar. Like it wasn't really that loud, but it was doing really, really well at the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're doing it anymore.
Sometimes when you're not hearing about a game is the best thing, right?
It's honestly a lot of the time. Sometimes it's just good to let them quietly get on with it. You know.
Oh, so true, man. That's a great dude. Overwatch in that game, perfect.
Apex is actually really big in the Korean scene, Japanese scene, Eastern European scene. Yeah, it's big in a lot of places. It's actually quieter, I think, in the West than it is in the East. Honestly.
Yeah,
it's kind of big over there. Yeah, Japan and Korea are killing it with that.
They are. Last up, Jay. Elden Ring can be... I assume this story, by the way, comes from all the Dying Light nonsense about 500 hours and stuff like that. But anyway, a producer from Software, Yasuhiro Kitao, sorry I butchered that, he said that Elden Ring can be finished in 30 hours.
Yeah, but there's a lot of side stuff.
This is part of a interview which happened on the Tepai game show, and then reported on by Jared Moore at IGN.
I feel like this seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute, is they're doing a lot of games that have like a set amount of time. So actually it's a lot like the Fallout model, right? Where the main game takes 20 to 30 hours to finish, but if you want to have the best experience, you want to do all the other stuff surrounding the main game to sort of pad out and make it last 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 hours so that you're actually having a bit more of an experience and probably enjoying the main story more just because you're actually playing it like you would a real person.
Right. So
I imagine that Elden Ring probably is going to take 60 hours, at least double that with the side stuff, at least.
Yeah.
So I know Pokemon Arceus has got a similar model, so.
I'm sure it will be the biggest Souls game, but like I'm not expecting. Like I feel like that's kind of the nice evolution of those games, right? Like, isn't that pretty much long you'd expect it, Jay, as a fan of those games?
Yeah,
Pretty
Dark
much,
Souls.
like
How long did Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 take me? It must have been around the 30, 40 mark.
right.
And they're not really like a side quest game. They're sort of just a main go
No,
through and do what you need to do kind of thing,
which is
So
funny
yeah,
because again, that's something where like that's something that's not been present in those games. Not saying they need them, but like
no,
you
bit
never
more
hear
open
anyone
world.
talk about the fact it hasn't got any side stuff in it, do you?
I
Like
feel like
ever?
Elden Ring is Dark Souls on like crack. It's just kind of like they've made it so much more expansive, even though it's like because
Yeah.
Dark Souls like the Dark Souls games really are the same as Elden Ring in that it's just one giant map. I don't think a lot of people realize that the game is actually just like a massive ring. It's like a Halo basically. You can walk around the whole of the entirety of the game in one massive ring. You can just keep going round and round and round if you need to. So they've basically just made that, but without the walls, and they just took the walls away and been like, oh, it's all open. It's the same
Right.
game. It's just built differently.
This
Built
sounds Breath of the
different.
Wild inspired, Jay, and I can't help but note that
Same with
so many
Pokemon.
games are taking this.
Pokemon Arceus has taken so much from yeah, Breath of the Wild. So
But
many
then
people love that game.
yeah, and I haven't played it,
I'm not going
and I'm
to.
not saying that it wasn't, like kind of taking the next stepping stone in the open world design, but
Oh no, it did
I
a good
think we're
job at it.
forgetting
Yeah.
that games like Oblivion and Morrowind, really did,
Oh yeah.
I believe, innovate on the, here's the world, off you go, kind of.
I feel like
kind of
we're in that
thing.
next section of like meta when it comes to gaming, where like Fortnite came out, and then every game after that, and PUBG sort of had that. Every game
Right,
after that sort of had that battle royale system and battle pass
right,
system. Now we've sort of moved from um, like the open world games now have sort of just all become Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild is now the new Fortnite when it comes to that side of gaming. It's just sort of people have seen a model and gone, oh, we can improve that, or we can make our own. Like it's almost like just taking inspiration. It's like a new band coming out and being like, well, we took inspiration from Deftones, so we thought we'd make a album that sounds a bit like them because we like them. And that's just how we want to sound too. Same sort of
right.
thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, and it shouldn't be seen as like a wrong thing to do. I just think it's great. If it works and you still want to play those kind of games, then go ahead. I don't know when it's going to start getting tiresome though, because the whole Fortnite model definitely got tiresome, and like the whole battle royale thing. Even though it's still going, like with the bloody first soldier thing or whatever, it is a little bit tiresome. Much like the zombie stuff, all the bloody too many zombie things.
Yeah,
It just
dude,
gets
like
tiresome
zombies,
really quick.
battle royale. Like
Yeah,
I'm so sick of battle passes
and
at this
now it's
point.
Breath
I
of the
just want
Wild.
to. I
It's just
just
moving on.
like. Yeah, yeah. Well, on a single player avenue for
Yeah,
sure.
single player it's gone Breath of the Wild, multiplayer it's gone Fortnite and PUBG and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't play multiplayer that often, to be honest with you.
Well, there we are.
Jay, please transition us to your topic screen. Yeah, for those who don't know, I guess
Yeah,
when we
all this
make
moving
transition,
stuff.
background
Yeah.
transitions, like it increases the size exponentially. I don't know why. So, Jay, your game for
I
this
forgot
week
what my game
is
was. Oh
is a
yeah,
small game called Rainbow Six Extraction.
yeah. I haven't played. Okay, so I needed something to fill the time between Days Gone and Arceus, and I thought, well, Extraction looked appealing to me when I saw the trailer in E3 the first time, or whenever it came out, and I was like, oh, okay, I actually pretend I don't like Rainbow Six, but this looks good. This looks like it's taking what looks appealing from Rainbow Six and making it more accessible. And that's exactly what they've done. They've basically made an accessible Rainbow Six. Like you can play it like the other Rainbow Six, where you can sort of like shift your body to move and like go around corners and stuff and be very tactical. But you don't need to do that to enjoy the game. And I think that's what I like about games like that is that you can choose, you get the choice, right? So I think even in Rainbow Six, I'm sure you get the choice. But this game just, I think, as like an overall, I'm very glad that it feels as accessible as it is. So I'm very happy about that. Also, the way that they sort of modeled the game is very similar to Back for Blood, which me and you played last year. And I was
Yeah,
kind of like, in my mind, I had like a vision of what Back for Blood was when I started playing it, and they had all these like skins for the guns, right? And there was a system in which you could get cosmetics. The way they had it in Back 4 Blood was sort of like a really toned down version of what I had in my head, but this Rainbow Six Extraction is actually kind of more of what I had in my head. Like there's a lot more going on. It's cool. It almost has a bit of an Apex system where there's actually a lot of skins to choose from, and they don't actually look too bad. So, and you can unlock them all, I think, or most of the good, like a lot of good ones, without having to pay any money. So that's handy. You just got to be good at the game to unlock the best ones. So at least I'm glad that there's some sort of system where in place where you can actually unlock things just by playing the game. So I'm very happy about that. I don't know if you have any questions about the game.
Well, I was just going to ask, like, is it good? Do you
Yes,
enjoy
I
it?
enjoy it a lot. I'm kind of bummed I haven't played it to a degree. I might come back to it. I have a feeling it's probably going to be around for a while, at least a year. So I'll give it a year, you know.
Sure.
Maybe 9 months at the minimum, but I think it'll be around. I mean, Rainbow Six did long enough, so. And I have a feeling that a lot of Rainbow Six people actually are starting to move away from Rainbow Six and trying to find other things. I feel like Rainbow Six is starting to not die, but like definitely decrease in player base. So.
Yeah, it's funny because I was sort of in my head thinking about this in the sense of GTA 5 and Red Dead 2, where at the point of Red Dead 2 releasing, especially Red Dead Online, you think, hold on a minute, do you actually want to release this game because it will basically cut into your current online audience?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the same with this game, where I think Six Siege is so big, I assume still, why release another game, to cut into that audience? However, they're game developers, they make games, and at some point I assume they want to make something new.
Yeah, I mean, they've spent, what, 6 or 7 years on Rainbow Six at this point?
Right.
Like, it's been out a long time. It might have even been longer than that.
If it makes
honestly.
money and it works, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're trying to find this to me feels like a YouTuber who's starting their second channel. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
they're like, I could probably make a little bit more money by doing the same thing but slightly different. YouTube channel with a 2 on the end, that kind of thing. But it's good. I actually prefer the second channel than I do the first channel. So
interesting.
In this instance, I think it's got a very nice aesthetic. It's got a very like Biohazard type. I don't know. I've always liked the way that gas masks look. I've always liked that kind of Biohazard type thing with the yellows and the whites and the blacks, like the very sharp, crisp colors and stuff, and it all looking a bit like Stalker. The game Stalker, the sort of Eastern European, like that kind of like aesthetic, or quite dark, and it's very similar to that. So in the way it looks, but yeah. Any more questions?
Unfortunately, I don't have loads of questions, Jay, because frankly, I just don't know anything about it. So, but
sure,
it sounds good. But look,
I think I'll come back to it definitely.
I'm more excited to hear about Arceus next week.
True.
Not to say I'm not excited to hear about you in Extraction. I'm glad you've tried it out. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, I'm glad I tried it out as well. Actually, I think it definitely has a lot of potential.
Is it making waves?
I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to anything, so maybe not. But again, it might be one of those things where I'm not in the right circle to notice.
Sure.
Necessarily. I haven't really been on Twitch enough to see if anyone's playing it on there. I haven't seen any major streamers play it, so that might be why it's probably not making as much of a noise as it usually would.
I had a question for you actually, Jay. When you're taking a break from gaming, does that include all formats of gaming, such as Twitch and or is that?
No, it's primarily just console. If I'm taking a break from gaming, I'm still playing on my phone. It's mainly just like the big screen, I think, is what I mean by that. Yeah.
Understood.
It's just a sort of like a palate cleanser, just to make sure that I'm definitely ready for something a bit more. Like my brain, if my brain's constantly playing something through the week, and then at the end of the week I want to start a new thing, I'm going to be a lot fresher and a lot more inclined to want to do well at that thing at the end of the week. If I didn't have that beginning and first 5 days of the week all packed of like mental having to think about and concentrate on a game, I know like that Extraction game takes a lot of concentration. So I know if I'd be very mentally exhausted by now if I'd been playing it all week. So I want to be as not mentally exhausted as possible.
Good. So you're like as good as you can be for when Arceus comes.
Yeah, exactly. Poised.
I love it. Friday's such a good release day as well, dude.
Perfect day.
I have spoken to you about this, Jay, earlier this week, but I wanted to speak to the people about it.
Mm.
So me and Jay had a very important conversation on last week's show, which you can obviously go listen to unless the world's ended. And
Okay.
basically we basically say we basically were able to articulate the reason why Jay plays certain difficulties on certain games and why I play certain difficulties on certain games.
Yes.
And in short, if Jay's looking for story, he will likely choose a kind of easier difficulty because he almost sees combat encounters and things like that almost as a type of barrier that can get annoying or in the way of experiencing the story, right? So he's not like, just like, not doing anything. But by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay.
Okay.
But he's like playing on easy because he's like he wants to see the story. He's not necessarily playing Guardians for the experience of the combat necessarily.
I'd say it's actually Guardians as an example. It's actually like 50-50. It's kind of like the story was important for me, but the combat was easy enough, and like for it to sort of like almost like an auto, it kind of coasted. It didn't need to really concentrate that much. So yeah, there's more like a 70-30 there. But yes,
sure, or 64, yeah, and then we found out that actually for some reason when I like story games, I like to have the right like a difficulty setting that challenges me enough where I feel sort of satisfied by combat. So for instance, in a game like, let's say just Mass Effect as an example, Jay might play it on easy or normal.
100% I play on easy.
And I will play it on insanity.
Yeah.
Because well, for one, if I can do insanity, anyone can. But I'm basically looking for the most challenging combat. If I'm enjoying the story and enjoying the game, the most challenging combat that I can basically overcome that won't make me tear my hair out. So with this new insight, long story short, Jay has reminded me that I need to enjoy a game for game's sake and to enjoy the game itself and have a bit of challenge. I don't really know how to articulate it, which is kind of ironic because that's how this whole conversation got started. But I've basically revisited my back catalogue or games I own.
This is why. Okay.
And I've started playing games.
You've been dabbling, okay.
I have been dabbling. Jay's been watching me dabble all
you just like just so many games that he's been through. Division 2, Fallen Order, Neo, like everything.
Yeah, and I've basically just been like playing these games and being like, do I get a nice challenge from this? Do I enjoy how the game plays? So basically, what Jay has reminded me, if not taught me straight up, is some games don't have to be, story-wise, they don't have to be The Witcher 3 or Last of Us Part 2. They don't have to do that. But whatever they are good at or whatever you enjoy, just focus on that bit. So like Division 2, I struggled because I was trying to get into this fucking story and like this lore. Okay. I know I don't care about it. And now that I've let go of that, I just play it.
Can I make an observation? That's really good. I like what you said there actually. Like, so you went into the Division thinking, oh, I need to know what the story is for this. So the combat took a bit of a back seat. But what you should have done is not worry about the story at all and just let the combat speak and enjoy the combat. And the story, like, it really is a bit of a 50-50. Like, for me, it's subliminal a lot of the time. Like, I didn't go into Division thinking, oh, I'm not going to care about the story. It just happened that way anyway. Like, the story didn't grasp me enough for me to want to care about it. So the combat sort of took over, and I realised while playing it that the combat was actually the main element of the game. The story didn't really matter that much. But you sort of had a bit of a pre-thought, like I think part of what it was is that when I was following the game when it was being developed and sort of the lead up to the release, I was following it, watching all the gameplay parts, I was mainly concentrating on the combat. I was like, oh, the combat seems good to me, I'll focus on that. But I think maybe potentially while you were looking towards wanting to play it, you didn't really see the combat as much, but you thought, oh, the story looks interesting, I'll probably try and concentrate on that while I'm playing it. So I think more of the time it's probably more about timing and the situation of how you approach the game more than actually like anything else. I think it's almost like a bit of just a random thing that can happen. Either you're going to go and either you think about it before you play or you don't think about it and you just so happen to enjoy and you pick the right one. Like, you kind of have to pick one, but sometimes you don't know which one. You don't know what is the right answer. But sometimes you happen to pick one. Sometimes you happen to pick the wrong one, and you just got to hope you pick the right one.
And totally right. And I think moving forward, what I will try and do is keep as open as possible so that I can go down either road, if that
Well,
makes sense.
you can either do that or you can look into it and go and actually make the decision of which one is probably the better option. Story first or combat first? Or I should say
Right.
mechanics first, because
Or
there might
gameplay,
not
yeah.
always be combat, whatever the
Yeah. Or will it be
the thing
genuinely
is.
both, a bit like The Last
Or
of
will
Us,
it be a bit of
probably
a,
Horizon 2,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like you kind of
or
have to.
Guardians, or
Are you going to make a conscious decision each time you play a game, or are you just going to roll the dice? Like for me, I just roll the dice a lot of the time, and I think I've probably got a pretty good catch. Like I've got a good rate of like what happens to be. I can't remember the last time I played a game and I picked the wrong one.
like you thought the gameplay was what was driving you, but it's actually the story, or vice versa, or something like that.
I think it might have been Days Gone. But luckily for me, it flipped like part the way through. I went into it thinking, oh, I'm going to like the story more. But then I'd probably say about 5-6 hours in, I was like, I don't need to. The combat is what actually matters. Like the gameplay matters more than the story to me. But then it kind of flipped again when I got to the end, and I was like, oh, the story actually matters more than the gameplay. It literally flipped like 2 or 3 times. And I think that can also happen. That can be a variable in which, depending on what part of the game you're playing, it can actually matter more, depending on what you need to know.
Totally. So. And I think as an addition to that point, right, you can, for instance, finish a game, love the story, but almost finishing the story drives the end game where you feel
that's what I was
going to
come to, 100%.
Yeah.
So like you, I think you made an example. Let's say like for me, Mass Effect was the thing. So
sure.
Perfect example for you because you know a lot. You've already played the game and you know a lot about the story. So for you, you need the challenge to be able to come back and play it. That's the reason why you needed to come back and play it. It's for the challenge.
Oh, Jay, my mind is blowing up right now.
But for me, I don't remember anything about the story. So if I went back to play Mass Effect, it would be for the story and not for the challenge.
Right.
And that is why you chose to approach it with insanity, and I'm going to choose to approach it with easy. It's because you already know the story, so you don't need to focus on it anymore. You just go for the challenge
instead. This is like
a
therapy session.
It's the same thing with Spider-Man. The reason why I replayed Spider-Man on hard, I knew the story already. Needed the challenge now. That's exactly what it is. I think from majority of the time you're going to do the challenging thing once you already know what the story is.
Right.
Once you know the story, the challenge then becomes the appeal.
And I would argue a great game is one that can do both.
Do both. Nick, again, we're blowing each other's minds right now. You are 100% right. And I think I'm trying. What is a good example of one that nails both? Probably most Final Fantasy game. Any Final Fantasy game nails both.
That's so true.
Most JRPGs.
I mean, FF7 Remake, would you argue, like, if you did want to go down that hard mode route, is definitely a challenging enough route?
Yeah, you do it after you played it once on easy, obviously. Like that's. I feel like we're basically we're dissecting exactly how gaming should. We're sort of going into the philosophy of gaming right now.
Right.
The philosophy of like the mental gymnastics of why people enjoy games and why people make the decision to play games a certain way. That's exactly what we're doing. We're just doing it without realizing. We're basically like Socrates and Plato, just having a bit of yeah, like the natter, We're just like totally like we're just like bouncing off of each other with ideas about gaming philosophy, and I love that right now.
Dude, it's awesome. This is exactly
we're writing the book.
I wanted to do the podcast, or we wanted to do the podcast because
just figure it out.
Yeah,
say things until things are figured out.
You figure out.
We would have never have come to this conclusion had we not started this podcast.
Exactly.
We finally. It took a year, but we got there.
It really did take a year.
Almost 52 episodes, 51 episodes so far, but yeah.
And I've hopefully helped Jay, not buy every game he likes the look of, and on the other side, Jay has taught me how to actually enjoy games again.
Yeah, so, you've definitely saved me a lot of money in the last year. I'll tell you that right now.
So Jay, with that positive ending, shall we do a little bit of Pixel Perfect and then end with a quote? Sure. For those who haven't played before, Pixel Perfect is a game we play every week. Well, usually every week.
This is the visual aspect of the podcast.
our production team has pixelated some game cover arts, and Jay's got to guess them. Now, he will be as audio as possible for the audio listeners. However, it is a visual game, as Jay mentioned. So, Jay, first up, what is this game?
Well, there's 4 games here, and unfortunately, I know what they all are, which is.
Oh, shit!
I couldn't tell you. Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, I actually told Al doesn't really count because it's 4, and he was like, "What?"
No, I can understand that.
So, Jay, what do they look like? I guess.
Well, I mean, I know what these are.
Oh, I didn't realize you were that much of a fan.
Well, I'm not, but it's just kind of obvious,
so
right?
So easy, mate. I said to Elle, make them hard, okay? I said make them hard and don't do a certain series.
No, this is fine.
And then he picks
I like
the
this.
most
This is a good
obvious
start.
colours I've ever seen.
No, this is a good start. So I actually want to go specific. I think this is... It's definitely Sonic. It's 4 Sonic games.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're 360 or if they're like DS. I want to say they're DS games. So I think I actually owned the top left one. I think I have the top left one on DS.
This is getting interesting.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure these are DS, but they could be 360. Because it almost looks like a GameCube thing on the left. I'm pretty sure it's DS or Game Boy, Game Boy or DS, one of the 2. So yeah, I'm going with Sonic, and they're probably on Game Boy or DS.
Any titles at all? No, come to mind.
God, no. I couldn't give you specifics. I mean, I think one of them might be a racing one, maybe.
Okay, I will give it to you.
Okay.
They are. Can I have a final platform?
I mean, DS or Game Boy. It has to be one. I mean, that counts as one.
Make a decision.
I'll go with DS. It's probably Game Boy though, just because I know the purpley color.
It is Game Boy.
Yeah,
and it is Sonic Advance. Oh, and Sonic Battle. Look at that.
So I definitely had Sonic Advance on Game Boy Advance.
Okay, any good? Do you want any good?
Yeah, brilliant. I didn't have second or third one. I didn't have the other one. Yeah, I definitely had the first one.
I think I had one of them too, bro. Maybe I borrowed it off you. I don't know.
Probably, more than likely. Yeah, or maybe I saw that you had it and got it myself.
Maybe.
Something like that. I'm sure.
Next up, Jay.
Oh, I know this. Damn it! What is it?
By the way, guys, there is a theme for all the games.
Yeah, they're all bloody Game Boy games. What they are. God. Oh no, I know what this is. This is one of 2 games. It's either a Mario Kart, like an old Mario Kart game.
Okay.
Or it's CTR.
Okay.
But I don't think CTR. Why did you just stop streaming the thing?
I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, it's either CTR or Mario.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
I'm probably going to go with.
My laptop's full. Hold on.
Okay.
No, it's alright. Go on.
I have a feeling it's Mario. I'm going to go with Mario as my final answer, but I have a feeling it might be CTR.
So a Mario Kart racer.
Yeah, it's a Mario. It's either like Mario Kart or like I think it's one. It might be the first Mario Kart.
Jay, that is an unbelievably.
Yeah, I had that. I 100% had that.
Holy crap! Mario Kart Super Circuit.
I have that game. I don't know where it is, but I have it. 100%. Why am I so? Wow. What is it with Game Boy Advance and my memory right now? What's going on?
Dude.
That was a good game.
Oh my God.
That is a really good game.
Next up, guys.
Damn, this is a bit harder.
Jay, what does this
I think I know what it is, though. It looks almost like you've just got like a grassland, and there's like trees, and there's like a blue sky. That's just what it really kind of looks like to me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this might be Animal Crossing, but I don't think Animal Crossing came out on Game Boy. I think it was a DS-only game.
If I'm honest with you, bro, I'm not sure that's true.
Yeah, I mean, my only recollection.
I thought the first one was on GameCube. I want to say.
Well, I thought the first one was on DS. I also remember there being a game called Harvest Moon that was on DS as well.
DS.
But
yeah, I remember Harvest.
This kind of seems like similar. I have a feeling this might be. If I had to guess, I'd say Animal Crossing, but I'm probably wrong. So that's definitely going to be my guess. I couldn't. Okay. I mean, it almost looks like Minecraft, but I mean, obviously Minecraft wasn't on.
It does a bit.
Or a Game Boy.
It's not correct, Jay. It is Super Mario World.
Damn!
Super
I had
Mario
that.
World
I have
2.
that as well. God damn
oh my God! Really?
Thing is, I have that, but I think I just bought the cartridge. I didn't buy the box that came with it. Right. I bought it as a separate thing, just on its own.
Well, you can see, Jay, this box is even crumpled.
Can I just say, this is probably the Mario game I put the most time into, and I'm gonna say probably close to 1,000 hours.
So You were
Like
massive on the Game Boy
legit.
Advance then.
My Game Boy Advance days were probably my biggest gaming days. I think I definitely spent more time on consoles, but I probably put equal amount of time on console and Game Boy Advance. And I've played consoles for like over a decade now, more than like
Wow.
15 years probably. I think
So
I remember being on a family holiday and playing this game.
Oh, very good. I was
Like,
just going to say, Jay, the Game Boy Advance is incredible to me because one of the
it's a good
fondest
time, man.
consoles I remember. However, obviously the DS sort of had a Game Boy Advance in it, which is incredible. But also, there's no backlight on a Game Boy Advance. It's nuts.
Yep, I had to get the little light that came over the top with the magnifying glass.
Oh, wow. Did it help?
Not really. I mean, it did, but I remember being in the car and having to wait for the street lights at night to come past just so I could play the game for like a couple seconds at a time.
I remember you saying that. Dude, yeah,
that's one of my fondest memories. Like,
dude, since we've been
cool.
talking about Pokemon, obviously the back of my mind's been unlocking Pokemon memories and how much I
Good,
enjoyed
I'm glad.
it, how much I played it.
My plan for what I would love the future to be is for you to get the next Gen 9 game and for us to play it together. That'd be so cool. I don't think you ever would, but I think in a different reality, a different timeline, that's kind of where we're at right now.
You never know, Jay. You never say
we'll
never.
We'll see. If I make a lot of money, I'll buy you a Switch and then you can get it. You know.
Sounds good. If we win the lottery.
If I win the lottery, I'll buy you a Switch.
Last game for this week, Jay.
Okay, so this has a similar look, where it almost looks like a forest.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, there's like a purple and yellow kind of like blob in the middle, and then there's like a brown title. It looks like.
Yeah.
It's probably. The thing is, I'm not sure. I'm really unsure about this one. Damn, it almost looks like Yoshi in the middle, but that's obviously wrong. It almost looks like a horse, maybe, in the middle.
I can see that. Oh, what about? Isn't there a Mario character that's a horse, like the Toadstool guy? That looks a bit like Yoshi. Not Toadstool, but the yellow Yoshi.
No, oh yeah, you're right. I think that's the female Yoshi, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I genuinely don't even have a guess. It kind of almost just no. I don't even have a guess. This one has completely stumped me, like legit completely stumped me. Okay. I'm gonna be so annoyed if I know what this game is. I'm gonna be so pissed.
Victory! We have victory. Okay, so
yeah, you
this
win
game,
one.
Jay, is one of my favorite.
Oh, that's not Spyro, is it?
It's not Spyro.
Oh.
It is in fact a game called Wario Land 4.
Oh, I've never played this.
For whatever reason, got it, loved it. Wouldn't necessarily play it again, but yeah, loved it.
I think I might have played a different Wario Land, maybe that wasn't 4. But yes, I've definitely remember playing a Wario game in the past, like a Game Boy Advance one, but I don't think it was this one. I might have seen you play this, I don't know.
Mate,
unlikely,
but yeah, know, like why I played it, but
just the time, man. It was just one of the things you did, you know.
Yeah,
it was homework 100%. And that's all we had.
Well, dude, to be fair, I feel like as well when you get games as gifts or whatever, you can't just go out and buy a game, so you're playing whatever you got, you know.
You didn't have your own money, so you couldn't buy what you wanted. You had to just sort of like ask for what you wanted and hope you got something either similar or the thing.
Right.
I think we're one of the last generations, one of the last ages to go through that process. Like properly go through it, you know.
Well, you think kids just get whatever they want whenever they want, almost.
Because me and you were only just born into the millennials.
Yeah.
We're on the very end. Like you were born 95 as well, or 96. Oh yeah, you're just in it. 96 was the last year you could be a millennial. So.
Oh no way.
Yeah, I was the year before 95. So.
Okay, the quote, Jay, that sticks with me every time I hear it. I think it's a very powerful and effective quote.
Okay.
It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Where do I know that from?
Enlighten me. From Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah. Okay.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, not the Sorcerer's Stone, because Americans can't understand complex ideas. It's Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, it's definitely philosopher. Yeah.
J.K. Rowling is English or British or United Kingdom-ish, okay?
Yeah, one of them.
It is not sorcerers. She wrote the book, it's philosophers.
Like the word sorcerer kind of like hurts my brain when it comes to Harry Potter, because they're wizards, right? Wizards and witches. Right. They're not sorcerers.
Right. Oh, exactly.
I guess sorcerers could be in that world, but they'd have to be like, I don't know, it doesn't really sound right. It just sounds more like a D&D thing. or like a fantasy. Like, it sounds more like a fantasy thing. I know Harry Potter's kind of a fantasy thing, but not in the same realm. You know,
No, I understand.
not in the same
I
vein.
understand.
Ugh,
Well, Jay,
that's rant over.
that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Wrap. R.I.P.
we've got a lot to do.
R.A.P. R.A.P.
I'm kind of like curious about just as a quick thing, like, what's your plan for until the next game? What's the next game that comes out that you're looking forward to playing? I guess it's just Wonderlands at this point, right?
Horizon.
Oh yeah, that's February, right?
Yeah, so basically, we're getting a lot of housework done over the next 3 weeks, and I really don't think
so you're not
going to
be playing.
I'm also starting a new job in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I imagine what I'll do is skip it because it's 70 quid, and you were like, you know, look, basically it's 70 quid. People will stop talking about it after 2 weeks. I'll get it on sale. It'll be patched, and you know, all the rest of it.
And you'll also, if you need to look up anything, you can. People will figure stuff out, you know.
So true. And I avoided spoilers for the first one, so you know, fingers crossed. And then yeah, so what I'll probably do is just skip that and go straight to Wonderlands and just play that brand new, basically, mate. Apart from
AC DLC as well.
Right, I still haven't made up my mind whether I'll jump into that before Wonderlands or not. What about you?
We need to talk about that next week, by the way.
Are we?
I totally forgot about that. No, I meant the fact that I've played the DLC for AC. We didn't talk about it yet, did we?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
We'll talk about that next week. I've actually got a bunch of things.
We can talk about it now if you've got thoughts on it.
No, I'll more thoughts next week.
All right. What are you doing? This is all Arceus time.
Yeah,
right?
Arceus time now. I know enough about the game that I can probably finish the game without having to look up too much at this point.
Sick.
I pretty much know everything about the game.
So now you're just going to go in with that knowledge and just.
I've finished my preparation. I know what my team looks like. It's great. I can't wait.
Jay, the more you talk about this methodology, the more I'm convinced it is a genuine way to
it helps
approach games.
It really does. Preparation is almost everything when it comes to certain games. Yeah.
But you would think that games designs that you wouldn't need to do preparation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like missing out on things. Like, there's some games where if I had known certain information before I'd gotten to like 10 hours in, I could be a lot more better off having known that and missed out on a bunch of stuff versus having just wormed my way and figured it out myself. You know, like there is an appeal to just figuring stuff out yourself like that, but that feels like the old way of doing things now. Like, for me, it's just guides, looking stuff up, making sure that my efficiency is maxed out and I'm just getting everything I need to get, and being happy with where I'm at, you know, in the game.
Very good.
But that's just me. You can play it your own way.
Yeah, of course.
That's just me.
Play your own way. You can play your
own way. Yeah, good stuff. Demonetized.
Good stuff. All right, Jay. Thank you for your time and your insight. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll chat all over the weekend about Pokemon and shit.
Oh, we will.
And we will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. All the rest of it. And don't know. Enjoy Pokemon if you're getting Pokemon. Very good.